Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Tech Niche Tips. I am your host, Joseph M. Smith, and I have another one for you. This is going to be special. I not only have someone that has graduated from course careers and that has also landed a job in tech, but this person is also a content creator as well. I'm pleased to bring to the stage to you none other than well, you might know him as Tech Back Trey, but Mr. Trey Scott. Trey, how are you doing today? Is everything well?
Hey, bro, everything is very well. Doing good, man. Glad to be here.
And I'm glad you're here as well. Now, just for those that may be joining us for the first time, but for those that have been here for a while, you know what the routine is. We're going to go from the boots to the brain, right? Boots is symbolic of the journey one takes to land to where Trey is at, right? We're going to talk about his journey. And then the brain is symbolic about the mindset someone needs to have, not only to land where Trey is, but to scale from there. So without further ado, let's take this story from the very beginning because the very beginning is a good place to start. You go ahead, Trey.
To start it off, I'll just give you a little bit of my very beginning, and then I'll go all the way to right now, kind of ramp through a lot of it. But I grew up in a small town in Texas. Mahia, Texas is kind of where I got my start. I spent a lot of time in the pastures and things like that with my grandfather, just with animals. And then I moved to Fort Worth, Texas in the second grade. And from there, I kind of just stayed here until now, really. Not quite in Fort Worth. I'm right on the outside, but that's kind of where I've been. And just to get ramped up over into the professional side and kind of where I am now, the last 8 years I spent at a basically it was a clinical pharmacy for a dialysis company, and we serviced on the medication side all of their dialysis patients. And what happened is they sold our proprietary juice, the stuff that made us, the top people. They sold that to a company in New Jersey. And their only option that they had was for me to move to New Jersey. Like they didn't have remote spots. This was 2021. So we were, in the mess of it, but they still hadn't had that option. So I was not going to leave Texas for New Jersey. That just was not going to happen. I liked what I did and all of that, but it just, yeah, I couldn't do that. So, that being said, I kind of figured, I'm like, hey, I'm going to have to figure something out. I need to go into another field. I know that for sure, but I don't know where. And for me, I don't like to make rush decisions. I like to really, think through and make sure I'm making the best decision that I possibly can. So I do have a wife though. So with that being said, I also didn't want her to be worried, right? So I needed a job, but I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't just jumping into anything just to say that I had one, because that's how you make mistakes. Um, and then basically after that, it was towards the end of the year in 2021. December came, and my cousin, who I normally see him like once or twice a year, he has been in the courier business for the last 5 years. I didn't know what he did really. I just knew what industry he was in. So I took this time, right, to try and figure out what he did to see if it was something that could possibly tie me over until I figured out the exact place that I wanted to go in as far as the industry wise. And yeah, I had him run down the game to me, and he did. He was like, "Hey, I wake up and I go to work at 5 a.m. I'm done by 12 p.m. I take a nap from 12 to 1, and then I play video games the rest of the day." And then he told me, like, yeah, and I did 50,000 last year. And I was like, what? Like, why are you just now telling me this? I mean, at the time, I didn't even make 50,000 a year. I think I was close, but it wasn't that. So all I heard in my mind is that, hey, he plays video games and did that, like, for extended periods of time. I don't play them like that. So I'm like, hey, I could probably run the bag up. Like, I can do 70, 80, 100,000 because just by working those extra hours that he's, playing those games on. So that's what's going through my mind. He tells me that I run the play. I just get my LLC and I do exactly what he tells me, and it worked. Everything he said worked at the height of it because when you're in business for yourself, you do have ups and downs and things. But for a stretch there, I could average between $1,200 and $1,500 a week, and that was great, except um, I didn't really like doing it. Right, the getting up part that was easy, but being on the road all day was extremely tough. And I feel for the people who have to do that, or who don't really like it but do it. There are people who love that kind of stuff. I was okay with it. It was paying the bills, but I knew that obviously there was going to be something that I would be getting into later on. And basically, what happened one day, I was getting on YouTube like I normally do. I'm a lifelong learner, so I just love learning new things, listening to what's new, what's out, how things are working. And the Anthony O'Neill show popped up on my YouTube channel. I decided to take a look. And in that episode, they were talking about course careers. They were talking about tech sales. They were talking about another program. And the other program was a little out of my budget for the time, but I knew I wanted to be in this field. So I did a little research. I saw what you could ramp up to in that space in tech sales, and it made sense to me. And I've been the type of guy who, hey, if it's been done before, it can be done again. And I was like, I'm gonna put my money in on this and try it. And so I did. On September 6th, I got in the program. By the 29th of September, I had finished and passed the program. And then October 19th, I was signing the offer letter for a new job. And so that's kind of what got me up into this point and how I landed here.
Now that's great. That's a great story. And it epitomizes the words that are right behind you, hustle. I want to kind of talk to you, Trey, about who you were when you were a little bit younger. Did you always have a hustle mentality? Like, I got to get mine?
Yeah. If you talk to anybody that knows me, they're gonna tell you I always had some sort of plan. Now, I wasn't the guy that was, selling the soda out of the backpack at school. You know what I mean? Soda and chips. I wasn't that guy, but after I graduated high school and things like that, I kind of knew that I wanted to be able to make the kind of money that I seen on TV or I seen, you know, down the street from where I live, but I needed to kind of have a some kind of hustle to it to get it done. But yeah, all my life, man, I definitely have had different ventures and things that I wanted to try and do and get in and things like
All my life, grinding all my life. That's what it sounds like. That's
that.
what it
For real.
sounds like. And so, you know what? That's a part of the DNA though of somebody that does make it into tech. They grind. They grind. They find ways to get
Hmm.
things done, like the words behind you, bravery, confidence, determination. And these are the type of characteristics that you need to have if you want to pursue a job or career, I should say, in tech. Now, I don't want to leave you kind of by yourself trying to figure this out. That's why there's an amazing course called Course Careers where you could actually go and learn these things. And I want to talk about that next. Tell me about your experience in more detail with Course Careers. How did you like actually going through the course?
Oh, dude, it was pretty straightforward. To be transparent, I'm not a school type of guy. I grew up, I made great grades all through school, elementary on to middle school, high school. I ended up graduating like top 10% of my class, 3.78 GPA. But I say all that to say this. I was in school for the people, for my friends. I love people and I love being around people, so that's why I was there. I did my work so that I didn't get in trouble. Hey, if I do my work and I pass, I won't hear anything from my parents, and I can still come to school and hang out with my friends. So After high school, I saw the bills that were, coming in that they were saying that you would have to pay for college. And personally, it just wasn't for me. I didn't get scholarships, so I could not see myself paying, exorbitant amounts of money to go to college. I had to go a different route. So basically, I got into pharmacy by going through a trade school. Took me 9 months, got my certificate and everything, and then boom, I was off to the races after high school, and I didn't look back. I made it up to like 20 something dollars an hour, which is higher than the average in that field. But like that word says, man, I just hustled. I did what I was supposed to do and got it done. Same thing with course careers. For me, it was how, hey, it's self-paced. Oh, so you saying I can do this? I get off at 5 o'clock, so I can go and work from 6 to 9, or go and work on course careers from 6 to 9. Cool. Oh, weekend, I can get in an hour here on Saturday, 2 hours after church. I can get it done on my own time. I didn't have to wait. That was the best part for me because I can set up a schedule and really grind and get it done. And that's exactly what I did. So that was my favorite part. The work on the inside, it was so digestible. Just the fact that you're able to know terms that are used in this specific industry and get a great way to learn them without it being, textbook and what would be called techno babble, right? Like things that are specific to an industry that I, as a new person, wouldn't know. They made it digestible for you to learn that and really, get it down packed so that you can go and, show that you know these terms and you know how this thing works in the tech industry to future employers. So I really love how they did that and just the connection that you gain. You can as soon as you join, you can go straight into a Discord with hundreds of people who have been in the course, who's in the course right now, who's just now starting just like you, and you can really gain knowledge and get help. It's amazing. So they did a really great job at building that.
I agree. They did an amazing job. All the things that you listed are really the benefits that I found in it as well. It's self-paced. You could take your time, you could go as fast as you want. It really is up to you. And then from everything that they provided in the course, the material, the content is detailed and is actually applicable to your job. And that's when I really was like, wow, this is amazing. That's when I really understood how amazing it was when I landed my job in tech. And so I want to talk to you
Yeah.
about that. I want to ask you that. So tell us a little bit more about that transition from when you were able to complete course careers. It was like less than a month, really, for you, and to when you got your job in October. Can you kind of talk to us about what did you do to land that job?
Yeah. I literally, like I said, I set up a plan. I needed to attack uh, getting a job the same way I attacked learning the information. So it was filling out applications as often as I could. I set a lofty goal. Okay, it was lofty for me because I was still doing other things outside of that, but I was trying to do 3 to 5 applications a day during the week. So at least 4 or 5 times a week. That's what I was trying to do. I had a spreadsheet that I would put the jobs in because when you're doing that many applications, it can get confusing on, who you reached out to who you need to follow up with, to, hey, they responded. It could get confusing. So I had a spreadsheet that had all that information in, and I was just really trying to get as much output as I could so that the ones that were coming back, it would be a lot more input. For me, that's always rang true. The more that you put out, that's the more that you possibly can get back and get into your funnel. If you want to think of it like that, you have the funnel that does this. You put a lot in, and then as you go down those steps, right, you're gonna have some that fall off, as in they don't reach back out. You're gonna have some that reach out, but then you might not like them. You're gonna have some that they reach out, you reach back out, they say, hey, let's do an interview. You get through the first round interview, they might not follow up after that. And then so on and so forth until you have this, few offers that you have to choose from and put in that work. So for me, it was about doing as many as I could and going on as many interviews as I could to, heighten my chances in getting the type of job that I wanted.
Back to that word hustle, right? Like Trey said, he had to keep his pipeline full, and that's a term that we use in sales. We have to keep the pipeline full. We have to make sure that it is full of prospects, and in this case, the jobs that he was prospecting, the jobs that he was researching, the jobs that he was doing outcomes to, and doing cold emails to. All this is a part of the process, and so for you have to do the job to get the job. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't skip any steps. You have to do the job of an SDR or a BDR to get the job of an SDR, BDR account executive, even or more. So that is definitely a great skill in itself that tech sales teaches you, but specifically Course Careers does. And so, like I mentioned before, the link is in the bio below, the description below. You don't want to delay. And now with Course Careers, we have not only tech sales, but we also have IT, if you did not know, information technology, and we just released a new digital marketing course. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. A digital marketing course has just been released, and people that have entered into that field have made anywhere from 55,000 starting in their first year to over 100 grand in their second year or more. So you definitely want to look into that if you are interested in digital marketing and marketing in general. And with that transition, Trey, if you feel comfortable, you don't have to necessarily say the amount, but did you see that income difference when you were able to transition into tech? You could talk about your work, where you work right now, if you would feel comfortable doing that as well, and you could even talk a little bit about your experience as you would compare it to where you used to work to now working in tech.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely don't mind telling you the amounts. It is at 70,000 OT at the moment. Um, and I've been in the field working at this is my third month. So coming up probably in the next 2 to 3 months, I should be looking to get a promotion. We're in the talks and my one-on-ones and things like that to get that done. So you already know with promotions comes more money. Anywho, as far as who I work with, I normally just tell people if you want to know where I work, just go to my LinkedIn. The reason I say that is because hey, you never know. I don't want to date the video. If you're watching this 2 years from now, I can't say that I'm still there or not. I don't know. So that being said, if you go to the LinkedIn, you'll be able to see where I'm at now. But as far as the space that I'm in, I'm actually in real estate property management. So that's the software that I deal with, property management software. And the biggest thing about that, I picked that because ultimately, when you're making more money and you're making a lot of money, you gotta have a place to put it. I always wanted to have real estate. I always wanted to put it in real estate. So what better place to be than to working for a real estate company that's what they deal with. Every day I'm talking to people who own millions and millions of dollars in real estate, $50 million a year, and they have it. And I'm talking to these people, learning how they do what they do, to try and see if there's a possibility that we can help, but ultimately it's helping me as well because now I can get what I learned and use it in my space, for my portfolio. So that's another thing as well. You can literally work in any space you want. There's a lot of spaces in tech, and you don't have to just stick to just some random thing. You can be very strategic and specific with where you choose to go after you go through the course or whatever. But um, as far as the difference between the tech company I work at now and just the corporate America company that I worked at before, it's night and day. And what's crazy is I used to think that corporate America job was day, and it was for corporate America. It's one of the top Fortune 500 companies, and places all over the world as far as where they are and operate. But it is just not the same. The tech industry, the way they set up your work life balance type of thing, it kind of blends both, right? So I spoke about the video games that my cousin played earlier. They have the PlayStation 5 in the office. You know, there it's multiple floors. It's a pool table, the fitness center, the showers after you go and do the fitness center, which are separate from the regular bathrooms. All the drinks you can drink in a day or two, you can have them for free. You know, everything from waters to orange juice. Um, but oh, kombucha on tap if that's something that you're into. Cold brew coffee, everything is there, and it's all free at my job. As far as the workspaces, they're all modern. Everything is top of the line. We use Macs and we use Apple products, which they give to you. You have the home office and the office at the job. Not to mention, you know, there are other jobs that are fully remote, some are hybrid, some are all at the office. I actually am in a hybrid role, so I go in the office 2 days a week, and then 3 days I'm at home. Um, it's just really different. You know, if you're at a company that the home headquarters is in a different state, they'll fly you out when you need to go out there, and take care of everything for you. It's just not the same. Uh, you know, we had coffee at the corporate America job. We had that. We had the water, and we did have sodas and drinks and things, but you had to pay. You had to pay. Here it's no cost, and just everything else as far as the snacks and all of that. The food they cater it every Wednesday because they do want us to be in the office that day. Everybody they cater food for us every Wednesday, so I don't have to worry about bringing lunch that day or going out to get it. It's gonna be there, and it's gonna be at some good restaurant, you know, around the area that they cater in for us. So it's just a different mentality. It's a different vibe. And for me, it's right up my alley. I love it.
Now that's fantastic. I think that when you're able to talk about it in such a way, paint a vivid picture like that for people to see, it's almost as if they could see themselves being there. And the funny thing about it is, people, you can be there. It's not that far fetched. It's not out of reach for you. You just need to be able to, as I said before in the past interview, you got to change boats. You might be in a leaking vessel right now. You need to, if it's still leaking, don't try to patch it up. If you could change boats, just change boats, right? And so we're going to talk about that in a minute because you said something there in regards to just kind of being able to leverage tech for other things. And so one of the things that I think you were doing a great job of leveraging tech with is your content creation. Now, I want you to dive a little bit deeper into that and talk to us about how did you get started into content creation and what makes you continue to do that to this day?
Yeah. So I started really like 7 or 8 years ago. I've been married for 9 years at this point. I'm 30 years old. I got married at 21. So probably about 23, I started getting into fashion and things like that. And I just really, it was because of someone at my job. They was like, yo, you're coming to work fire every day. You need to put this on a blog. And I'm like, I don't write. So when I heard blog, all I heard was words and a lot of writing. I'm not doing that. But then around that time, Instagram was kind of blowing up and things like that. So I'm like, but I could take a photo of it and just have it there, you know, to look at. And that kind of took off a little bit. And with that, I decided to try and get into podcasting. Now, this was a long time ago, years ago, and it wasn't as accessible as it is now. You know, it was $100 a month, and you had to put all these things together to make it work. Now it's way easier and considerably cheaper. But nonetheless, I dabbled in it then and did that. And then over the years, I just kind of continued to keep up with content creation and the space and how it worked. And then a few years ago, just picked up a camera and me and my wife, we had a podcast regarding like marriage and young marriage, and we just stopped that this past year to move, and we didn't get the studio fully back set up yet, so we haven't started it back up. But with that being said, we still continue to um, basically vlog and just kind of document things that were going on in life. And so with that, I personally, when I decided to jump into tech, I was like, hey, I should document this whole thing. I should start from the very beginning before I even started the course. I should, kind of speak on where my mindset is and, how I'm thinking and everything that's going on right now. And so that's what I did. I just documented that and then kept going. And what I realized is that people was and still are, they're hungry for that information. People want to make change and they want to do something different. And sometimes, they're not as risk averse, or they are risk averse. So there takes a certain amount of risk to put your hard earned money behind something that you don't really know will work or not. Personally, I have no problem taking risks. And so I was like, let me document this, take the risk for everyone else so that they can see what happens. And the good thing is I'm not the only story, so it just fully validates when I can point someone in another graduate's direction, like they can see, hey, they did it too, they did it too, they did it too. So yeah, that's kind of how it started. I've been in content creation, and then I just kind of used it to move on over into this space since that's what I was doing next, and just documented that journey.
That's great. That's great. And I think that's exactly why I wanted to start this channel too, because people can, like you said, if it's not yourself, you're pointing them to another graduate so they could see their story. Because everybody's story has validity to it, it has value to it. And may not be that you may resonate with myself or you may not resonate with Trey, but you may be able to resonate with someone else that's on this channel or someone else that shares their story with Troy as he interviews them at Course Careers. And so, just so you know, you're one of those stories. Your story has value. And so, you want to make sure that you increase the knowledge that you have so that way people could see your value in a greater way. It's not saying that you're not valuable now, you are valuable as you are. But when you add more knowledge to yourself as you continue to develop yourself and grow, man, I want to hear your story too. So, if you are still interested in learning more about course careers, like I said before, you're going to see the description in the bio in the details. I want you to get on this because it has changed my life. It has changed Trey's life, and I know it will change yours as well. So, we're going to begin to wrap this up, Trey, and I want to talk a little bit about the mindset. Now, we kind of alluded it to it, and I think you're going to probably say the exact same word I'm thinking of right now because we kind of mentioned it a couple of times, but maybe I'm wrong. What would you say the mindset that someone needs to have to get where you are right now and possibly even scale from that position?
Yeah, I mean, multiple words. Mindset is my favorite. I can talk about it all day. Um, but for things to change, you have to change. So if you're in a position where you don't want to be, driving the car you don't want to drive, living in a place you don't want to live, you know, living in a way that you don't want to live, you got to be willing to take that chance on yourself. And sometimes that means, uh, probably most of the time, that means getting out of your comfort zone and doing something that you've never done. And that could be as simple as doing a course, or it could be as simple as reaching out to someone and trying to figure out how to get that done. But you definitely have to put in your hustle, right? You gotta put in that time. It That's kind of how God works. He can do anything, but he's not going to do it unless you put that first foot forward as well, because he gave you free will. So he can't make you take the things that he has for you. As well as, once you do decide to make that decision to change, follow through. So many times you hear about people who do end up taking courses, but they don't finish. Or if they finish, they might finish the course, but they don't do the extra work it takes to get done. Nobody's going to give you anything in life. You have to go out and actually take that. And a certain way that I put that is life doesn't give you what you need, it gives you what you deserve. So you have to go out and deserve the things that you need. It's a harsh reality, right? Because sometimes we say, well, I grew up like this, or, I didn't have that same advantage as them. Well, you don't know what they're dealing with. So, yeah, they started off at this level and you might have started off here, but to get to that end goal, you still have to put in that work and they might have as well. So, their parents might have done that to start them off up here. But you might be that one that has to help your future people start off up there. But someone has to do it. It might as well be you. So that's just a little bit. I don't know if I answered your question for sure, but I know that those are the things that was in my mind. Those are things that helped me continue to push forward and to just kind of go out for those lofty goals that I have. Is to know that I have to do it. I have to put in that work if I want to see those results.
That's very good, Trey. Why not you? Why not now? Why not right now? Right? And just to quote and to
Yes,
quote a
sir.
modern philosopher, Damon Dash, I don't do this for my first name, I do it for my last. And so
That's
the
it.
whole mindset is we're doing this for the generations that precede us, right? We're laying that foundation for them. We're laying that example for them. And is that exactly what Tech Back Trey, Mr. Trey Scott is talking about. So this has been a great conversation. I'm so glad, Trey, that we were able to have this conversation in front of so many people that will be watching this for who knows how many years to come. But I'm talking to you again in the audience. Don't delay. If this is something that you really do feel is something that's been tugging at you, and you've been watching these interviews, you've been watching these stories, and you kind of said, you know what, I'm kind of delay on this. There's no need to do that any longer. You don't have to do it. You could sign up for Course Careers. It's a 14-day money back guarantee. You could actually save $50 with my promo code Joseph50, you know. And so that is something that we definitely want you to take advantage of today. And before I let Trey go, I'm going to shout out his channel. His channel is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Tech Back Trey, right? That's it,
That's it,
right?
man. You just type that, it's gonna pop
Awesome.
up.
So just follow his channel. He has a lot of great videos there. You can see a lot more in regards to Course Careers, a lot more in regards to his journey. He's a lot better at this than I am. So you're able to see some great content that he has over there. And one thing I love about Course Careers is that it's never competition. It's always camaraderie, and that we kind of come alongside each other and support each other and encourage each other the best way we can in the times that we can. And so with that being said, thank you so much for joining us here at Tech Niche Tips on this episode. I thank you again from the bottom of my heart. And like always, I hope to see you on the other side. Take care. So we can run this race together.